This operation was illegal from the start. Our only option now is to bury it completely. Salen stared at the peaceful image on his screen one last time. Leave them alone, he decided. If the creature wasn't aggressive, it wasn't their problem anymore. Let the local authorities handle it if they wanted. He closed the channel before anyone could argue. Sitting in his quarters, he thought about how a simple assassination had turned into this mess. Humans were supposed to be easy to intimidate, easy to control. Yet here was one of them, turning a weapon into a pet without even trying. Maybe the council had been right to worry about humans, just not for the reasons they thought. 3 days had passed since the Ravager arrived. Daniel had named it Shade, mostly because he needed something easier to say than giant murder lizard currently napping in my yard. The name fit. Shade moved like a shadow. Black scales absorbing light like darkness made solid. Butterscotch, his old cat, had completely adopted Shade as her new favorite nap spot, curling against the warm scales like a heating pad for her arthritis. Shade never seemed to mind. In fact, the creature looked more relaxed with Butterscotch close. Daniel spent his days observing Shade, how it moved, how it reacted to situations, what made it tense, what calmed it. He was building a profile the same way he used to with rescue animals. Shade didn't eat. Daniel offered meat and local vegetation, all ignored. That worried him until he noticed Shade drank small amounts of water every few hours, and its body temperature changed with the sun. It was solar-powered or something close. Those black scales weren't just armor, they were energy collectors. That explained how it could go so long without food. But the scars told another story. Daniel counted 47 major injuries, plasma burns, blade cuts, impact damage from explosions, all poorly healed, evidence of battles fought without proper care. Shade flinched at loud noises, always positioned to watch the house, never fully relaxed. Combat trauma was obvious. This was a soldier, tired and hurt, who had been fighting too long. On the 4th morning, his neighbor Patricia Walsh arrived in her ground transport. She was practical, in her 60s, running the farm next door. She froze at the sight of Shade. That is the biggest predator I've ever seen. You better have a damn good explanation. Believe me if I said it followed me home? Daniel asked. She gave him a skeptical look. Nope, then I don't have a good explanation. Shade watched her with 6 eyes, but made no move. It had been here 4 days, hadn't hurt anyone, and mostly just slept and watched Butterscotch. Patricia sighed and got out of her transport, keeping the vehicle between her and Shade. Patricia studied Shade. What do you think it is? Daniel shrugged. Someone made it to be a weapon. Used it too many times, then sent it here, and it decided it was done fighting. Patricia walked slowly around her transport, Shade tracking her without changing posture. Can I approach? She asked. I wouldn't recommend it, Daniel replied. Butterscotch, as if summoned, trotted over to Patricia, rubbing against her legs. Shade rumbled approval. Patricia smiled. The inspectors will want that creature. You know that, right? I know. And you're not going to let them. She nodded. We take care of our own here. They haven't hurt anyone. They deserve to rest. Daniel spent the next hour checking Shade for trackers. 2 military-grade devices were embedded in Shade's back, nearly invisible. Removing them required precision, but Shade stayed calm, purring whenever Butterscotch came near. When the devices were gone, Daniel crushed them and buried the pieces. Sitting next to Shade, he scratched the area around where the trackers had been. You're free now. Whatever they made you do before, it's over. You can stay as long as you want. Shade rested its massive head on Daniel's lap, and Butterscotch climbed atop Shade's head, grooming her paws. Sometimes, the strongest warriors are the ones who choose not to fight. The inspectors arrived at noon the next day, stepping out of sleek white transports. Daniel pretended he had no idea what was happening. Shade stayed hidden in the barn, Butterscotch inside with extra treats. The inspectors scanned the property, citing unusual electromagnetic activity days ago. Daniel blamed a storm. Lightning probably messed with your sensors. They insisted on checking neighbors, but every resident supported Daniel's story. Nothing unusual. No strange lights, no weapons, just normal colony life. The inspectors left empty-handed. 2 weeks later, an unmarked ship landed 5 miles away. Daniel watched 3 armored figures approach through the fields. Shade detected them immediately, tense and ready. Daniel placed a hand on Shade's side. Let me handle this first. The lead soldier spoke through her helmet. We are here for the Ravager. Send it out, no one gets hurt. This is human territory, Daniel called. Your authorization means nothing here. Another pause. Let us take it peacefully. In exchange, we'll remove all records of your illegal imports. Daniel's counteroffer. You leave now. File a report that finds nothing, and I live my life. That's it. Behind him, Shade loomed, ready. Soon, 15 neighbors arrived armed, supporting Daniel. The soldiers had no choice but to retreat. Months passed. Shade became a quiet guardian, no longer a tense weapon, but calm, patient, and observant. Its presence was reassuring rather than frightening. Daniel went about his daily life, tending crops, maintaining the property, and checking on Shade and Butterscotch. Visitors whispered stories of a human who had tamed a dragon or befriended a demon. Daniel let them talk. He knew the truth. Shade was not a pet or a weapon. It was a partner, a being whose loyalty had been earned through trust, patience, and empathy. The council delegation that came to negotiate human expansion treaties was stunned when they saw Shade basking in the sun. Butterscotch curled against it. The delegation's military-trained minds expected aggression, discipline, and domination, not calm companionship. Daniel simply said, "This is Shade, and that's Butterscotch. They're family." The delegation left with a newfound respect for humans, not for their fighting skill, but for the stubborn belief that even dangerous beings deserved a second chance. Daniel reflected on how different life had become. A human had shown that violence was not the only path to control or influence. Shade had once been a weapon of destruction, yet here it rested under the warm sunlight, no longer the product of fear, but a symbol of understanding. Every observer who saw the trio, Daniel, Shade, and Butterscotch, felt the weight of what humans were capable of beyond conflict: compassion, trust, and care. Weeks passed quietly. Daniel spent mornings repairing old fences, afternoons checking Shade for injuries, and evenings watching sunsets. Shade followed him like a shadow, but its watchfulness was relaxed, no longer tense with memories of battles past. Butterscotch had aged but remained spirited, often hopping onto Shade's back or curling beside him during naps. Together, the three formed an unlikely, harmonious household, each day a testament to patience and recovery. Stories spread through the colony about the human who had tamed a ravager. Children peeked from fences, adults whispered while tending their gardens, and visitors brought gifts for Shade. Daniel welcomed none of the fame. His focus remained on life itself, keeping Shade healthy, Butterscotch comfortable, and the property running smoothly. Yet, he could not deny the quiet satisfaction that humans, through persistence and empathy, could alter even the most dangerous of beings. Years went by, and life settled into gentle routine. Shade patrolled the farm at night, alert but calm. Daniel continued to repair, nurture, and grow. The colony, once skeptical of human methods, began to respect the example he set. Conflict had not been eliminated entirely, but the lesson was clear. Patience, understanding, and small acts of care could reshape a dangerous world. Daniel often watched Shade sleep under the fading sun, thinking of the first day the ravager had appeared. Butterscotch passed peacefully in her sleep a few years later. Shade mourned deeply, placing stones around her grave under the sunset tree. For the first time, Shade howled, a raw sound of grief and recognition of loss. Every human who heard it understood the universality of love, loss, and the necessity of farewells. Daniel stood beside Shade, feeling the depth of their connection and the power of enduring companionship, knowing that even in sorrow, bonds forged through care remained unbroken. Life continued around them. Crops grew, neighbors came and went, and the rhythms of colony life unfolded naturally. Shade, once a symbol of weaponized fear, became a guardian, a quiet presence protecting the community. Daniel maintained his daily tasks, repairing structures, tending animals, and ensuring Shade's well-being. Through these simple acts, he created stability and security for all those around him. Visitors marveled at the bond between human and ravager, and Daniel used these opportunities to teach lessons of empathy and patience. Shade responded gently, demonstrating that strength could coexist with calm, and that even the most fearsome beings could find peace and trust. Daniel's example spread, influencing others to approach potentially dangerous creatures and situations with understanding rather than aggression. Time passed, and Shade aged gracefully. Daniel reflected on how far they had come from the chaotic arrival of a weaponized being to this life of quiet harmony. Through care and patience, they had rewritten history on a personal scale, showing that transformation was possible. The colony respected the unusual family, and Shade's story became legend, a testament to the power of human kindness and resilience. Daniel often walked the fields at sunset, Shade at his side. The vast landscapes of the colony stretched out before them, peaceful and full of life. Memories of the ravager's violent past faded in the warmth of the present. Humans had endured, survived, and thrived, not through dominance or fear, but through compassion. Daniel realized that the true strength of humanity lay not in power or weapons, but in the ability to give second chances. Shade remained vigilant, yet relaxed, Daniel content in his role as caretaker, and the memory of Butterscotch lingering as a quiet reminder of love's enduring presence. Together, they showed the galaxy that even in a universe built on fear and conflict, peace could emerge from trust and patience. Daniel Reeves had transformed a weapon into family, demonstrating that humans, with all their flaws, had the courage to see beyond destruction, and in that belief, they were truly unstoppable.